first few minutes were quiet on the way back. All I hear is the sound of the motor running and the sound of the bad paved county road. After a while, the quietness became too unsettling. I figured I'd break the silence. "So, Leroy, this is what happens out here?" He chuckled and replied, "Told you, it's crazy out here." That seemed to lighten the mood. Jack let out a smirk. "Yeah, that was crazy, better than going to any football game." Even James let out a sigh of relief. "I don't think I have ever been that scared before." Wow, my heart was racing. We let out a little laugh. "Now we can add a story to all the other ones about that bridge," Ellen says with a smile. Leroy turns the radio back on. "Glad I made your night eventful," Leroy says with a confident tone. We drove back into town. The ride back seems a lot shorter than the ride to the bridge. Leroy pulls into my driveway. It's about 10:30, so I have to call it a night. James and Ellen get off with me at my house. Leroy and Jack take off to Jack's house. "Well, that was something," I tell James and Ellen. "Yeah, definitely not a night I will soon forget," James says. "That was fun in a scary way," Ellen tells us. James and Ellen walked back home. They're not too far from my house, just a couple of houses down. I watch them go into their houses before I go into mine. Mom and Dad are still awake and asked me if I was okay. I told them yes. I went to my room and read a magazine before falling asleep. I had a crazy dream that night. I dreamt that I was back at the bridge. I was by myself standing on the road. The fog rolled in. It came at me fast. It stopped in front of me. It began to tower over me. Then it said my name. After that, I quickly woke up. Good Saturday morning, I told myself. Well, I told myself, let's see what happens today. Before I knew it was already afternoon. Then there was a knock at my door. James, Jack, and Ellen were outside. They came into my house and went to my room. "Damn, that was crazy last night," Jack said. "Crazy? Nah, that was scary as hell," Ellen said. "Yeah, guys, that was scary. It gave me nightmares last night," James said nervously. "Really? What kind of nightmares did it give you?" I asked. James described his nightmare, and it took me by surprise. Damn, James had the same dream I did, only the fog said his name. I looked at Jack and Ellen, and they appeared to be shocked. "Hey, did you have a similar dream too?" I asked Jack and Ellen. They both said yes. I put my head down. "Yeah, me too." We sat there in silence looking at each other. Then there was a knock at my door. My dad walked in as the tension broke. "Hey kids, I'm off to the store. Do y'all want anything?" "Popcorn," Ellen says out loud. "Yeah, and pickles," James says. "Oh yeah, and get some of those gummies," Jack says smiling. "All right, guys. How about you, Andy? Do you want anything?" "No, I'm good, Dad, thank you." "How about a movie, kids?" "Don't worry, I got that. My dad got some movies last night," Ellen tells my dad. "All right, okay, I'll be back soon." Ellen pulls out 3 movies from her bag, a comedy, drama, and a scary movie. That's what we need to ease us from the nightmares. I look at her with a smile when she shows us the movies. "Well, let's get started. We have ourselves a movie marathon." Heck yeah, Jack lets out. I go to the living room and hook up the VCR. Jack and Ellen go into the kitchen to make some punch. James sits on the couch looking at a magazine. I get everything hooked up and think to myself, today is going to be a good day. Watching movies with my friends and just relaxing. Jack and Ellen come into the living room with cups of punch. I put in the comedy movie to the VCR. I figure watch the funny one first, then the horror last. The tape starts to play and the tracking is off. Never fails. Every time I sit down, I have to get back up and fix the tracking. There, that's better. The guys laugh as I sit back down. "What is this movie about?" James asked. "I don't know, but it should be funny," Ellen tells us. The movie plays on. Yeah, it's a funny movie so far. Halfway through the movie, Dad comes back home. He signals to us that our snacks have arrived. I nodded my head and focused back on the movie. We're there laughing and having a good time. Then the phone rings. The phone is mounted in between the living room and the kitchen. I look over and see Mom answer the phone. Mom made a concerned look on her face as she held the phone to her ear. It seemed as her face turned pale and fear gripped her. I looked at her wondering what was going on. She locked eyes with me, and I could tell she was scared. She said okay, and then hung up the phone. Whoever was on the phone with her scared the hell out of her. Mom continued to look at me and then called for Dad. Jack looked at me and flipped his head at me, a silent way of asking what was going on. Ellen and James noticed the look on my face as well. "Hey, is everything okay?" James asks. "I don't know." My mom looked scared when she was on the phone. "What do you mean?" Jack asked. "I'm not sure. It just seems strange." Mom and Dad walked into the living room. Mom looked very scared. Dad looked concerned, and I was very nervous. Just what was going on and who was on the phone. Then Dad spoke to us. "Andy, can you please turn off the TV? I have something you need to hear." I turned off the TV, and the four of us gathered around Dad. "Your mom just got a call from Mrs. Garcia over at the sheriff's office. Nancy White went missing last night. No one has seen her and she never went home. The sheriff fears the worst has happened. Do you kids know anything?" My mind started racing when Dad said that. I looked at everyone. They seemed frightened as well. I looked at Ellen, and I feared the worst for her. Nancy is missing. The town hasn't had a missing person since, well, never. This news gripped us. We all looked at each other, and I didn't know what to say. My parents left the room, and we were all speechless. Finally, Jack broke the silence. "Damn, I wonder what happened." "I don't know. I can't imagine why either," I said. "I wonder when it exactly happened." Jack said, "Must have happened after the game. You know she always goes," Ellen remarked. "This is crazy. I'm not exactly her friend, but I hope she's okay," I said. We all just sat there quietly. The TV was still off. We all had our heads down. I was thinking of the last time I saw her. Nancy is 1 year older than me. She is a senior in high school. She can best be described as a popular kid in school. Everybody wants to be her friend and associate with her. To me, she seems fake, but to each their own. I remember seeing her that Friday. I was in my PE class, and we were outside playing softball. I was standing in the outfield when I heard the sound of laughing. I looked over and saw her with 3 other girls. They were walking out of the school building and heading off to the parking lot. Guess they got out early or were skipping class. Anyway, they got in the car and left. "Hey guys, it's too quiet. How about we finish that movie?" Jack says, ending the silence. "Yeah, let me turn it back on," I told him. I played what was left of the movie. I think there were only 25 minutes left. After receiving the news, the movie wasn't funny anymore. I couldn't even concentrate. I would glance over to the others and could see they felt the same. Once the movie ended, I turned off the VCR. Then there was knocking at the door. Mom went to answer the door. The front door is located in the living room. I looked over and saw it was the police. I sat back down on the couch. All of us were looking at the door. We couldn't hear what the police were saying. All we could see was my mom nodding her head. After about a 5-minute conversation, they left. Mom turned toward us. "That was the police. They're going door to door and asking if anyone has seen Nancy. Also, they put in place a citywide curfew. Everyone under 18 must be home by 5 p.m. or accompanied by a parent after that time. Also, no walking or riding bikes to school until further notice." After Mom said that, the situation felt more real. Once again, we were speechless. This felt too unreal. This was like something out of a scary movie. We looked at each other and then back at Mom. "I hate to say this, kids, but it's probably best if everyone goes home. It's past 3 o'clock and I don't want anyone to get into trouble." Everyone just nodded and left my house. Dad walked in and sat next to me. "Hey son, I know this is hard, but it will be okay. The next few days will be rough. I just want you to stay home till all this makes sense." "I understand, Dad. I won't go anywhere." So I stayed home. I wasn't able to see my friends face to face, but in times like these, it's a good thing to have 3-way calling. As nighttime came, I gave everyone a call. I called James first. "Hey James, are you there?" "Yeah, I'm here, Andy." "Okay, stay on the line. I'm going to call Jack." "Hey Jack, can you hear me and James?" "Dude, what the heck is going on? Hold on, Jack. Hold on, James. Let me get Ellen." "Hey, Ellen, it's me, Jack and James." "Oh my God, this is crazy. My parents are freaking out." "Dude, my parents are freaking out too. They're telling me I can't leave the house," Jack says, almost screaming into the phone. "Yeah, guys, my parents are over the edge too. They want to know my every move," James tells us. "I hear you guys. My dad doesn't want me to leave the house either. Have any of you heard anything else about what's going on?" "No, all I heard is that they're getting a search team together." Ellen replies, "I heard that too. I heard my mom say the sheriff has been at Nancy's house all day, James says. Damn, man, this is crazy. Do you all think it's someone from town? Jack asks. That's a good question. But if it's someone from here, is it adult or someone from school? I mean, who would want to do this? I asked. Well, let's be honest, guys. Just 'cause she's is popular doesn't mean everyone likes her. Remember Stan from science class. He absolutely despises her. Jack comments, yeah, but I don't think Stan has it in him. I mean, I know he is weird, but I don't think he would do something like this, James says. It could be her boyfriend, Ellen says. Boyfriend? I didn't know she had one, I said. Nobody does. It's some guy from college. I think he's like 2 years older than her, Ellen says. Wait a minute. How do you know Ellen? Have you been stalking her? Jack says eerily. No, you idiot. A couple of weeks ago I went to the store with my dad. We were about to leave when I saw her. I didn't recognize the guy. He seemed older than her. Anyway, she saw me looking at her. Ever since then, she's been giving me hell. Oh, damn. A secret boyfriend, that's something, I said. We talked a little longer before our parents said to end it. I went to bed that night nervous. It felt like I was in a scary movie, and I didn't like that feeling. The next day was Sunday. I had to stay home while all this was going on. I watched football with my dad all day. I talked on the phone with my friends again. We just talked about the poor stool. They've been very boring. It wasn't a long conversation. We all have to go to sleep early. Tomorrow is Monday, and that means back to school. I can only imagine what everyone was going to say. That night, I had another nightmare. I was back at the dip overlooking the bridge. I was by myself. It was nighttime and the moon was bright. I was staring at the bridge, only it wasn't covered by the brush. I could see it as it was back in its glory days. As I looked at it, I saw someone walking on it. I focus my eyes and I see Nancy. She looks at me and she yells, "Help me!" I hear a pounding at my door as I jump out of bed. Hey, wake up, it's time for school!